Yeah.
Life is short, time is short. And when it's your, like, when that window opens for you to go through and really like make an impact and to like, have that great opportunity for yourself and for, the people that are surrounded by you, have to go after it. Like, you have to go for it, because we live in a world to where everyone has access to anything to be whatever you want to be.
So going back to what we were talking about, just talking about like social media and the upside to it and also the downside to it. Listen, there's been a lot of people that have made a lot of money from social media, right? So that's you can monetize it, right? You can make a lot of money on social media. You can help a lot of people. You can build your brand. You can build an influence. So that's the upside of social media. That's the good part. But I don't want to spend too much time there. I want to spend time on the things that have came of social media, right? On the downside. And I think that the biggest issue that social media has caused, or that people have caused on themselves because of social media, is them just having that social anxiety and not being able to, I guess, be humans. Like, really just bots. There's a lot of
Like,
robots out here.
It's no true interaction. And really,
No, it's not.
when Instacart, like curbside, like when all that stuff came about, it isolated humans from each other even more.
Yeah.
Like
COVID.
I would say COVID made a way for them to initiate that,
Yeah.
because that was always in the works.
Yeah.
It has always been around.
Yeah.
It just wasn't known. Like, people getting their groceries, delivered to them. It, of course, like, it was at small places like Whole Foods, or the places that's not really known, places that people don't really go to. So when COVID happened, it really gave people, it really just opened the door for more people to have access to it, because it's not as expensive as it used to be. So curbside and DoorDash and just anything to where you don't even have to see the person. They can deliver it to your door, leave it there, take a picture. You wait till they walk off and you literally pick your groceries up.
Yeah.
Never have to have an interaction with nobody if you really don't.
Yeah.
Even with healthcare, you do a whole they're like, it's people that come to your house, a person that comes to your house and do a whole consult, examines you. You never have to leave your house.
Yeah.
Like, and that's creating such, it's just horrible. Like,
no more distance, more separation of the people. I think the powers that be, right? Whoever that is, the powers that be want to influence us to become robots, right? They want us all thinking the same. They want us all doing the same things. They want us all reading the same material. They want us all tuned into the same programs. Yeah. Like, they want to create robots. This is why this AI thing is starting to become a thing, right? Robots is like, that's what they want. They want to manipulate and control people, and they've been doing a very good job.
And that's the thing, because
I'll be honest,
even with the education system.
Oh Lord, don't get me started on that. That's a whole nother pod.
Used to, like when I was on Facebook and I had made that post, and I was literally like, somebody was sending me a book because they're in the education system, and they just like, oh no, it's getting better. And I'm like, okay, you're clearly in denial. You may be making a difference on your end, but the reality of it is, it's getting worse, and it's only going to get worse, because one, the kids are not doing the work.
Right.
You guys are allowing digital, like, basically teaching to where the kids can Google every single thing.
That's a fact.
They don't know the basics, like the basic math, basic like laws, basic like common sense things that I would say. They don't know the basics. Like, you literally have to look it up. Like,
here's the thing. I think school, because we have a lot of people that still believe that college is the way to success.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to college, right? But listen, I'm glad my lawyer has a law degree. I'm glad my doctor has a doctorate, right? Like college does wonders for some people that want to be in a certain field. So no disrespect to college, but you don't need to go to college to be successful.
Like,
right?
that mindset, like, you have to go to college in order to be successful. If you don't get a degree, if you don't go to college, like, you're not going to be successful. And it's like,
that's a lie.
BS. I call BS, because it's people that literally are in debt right now that come to my job. It's like, oh, well, I'm making more than you and I'm out of debt, and you have 2-3 degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm
People
not
with
making
degrees,
more than you by a couple dollars. I'm making more than you by $10, $12.
they
Like,
got they got they got people with degrees that are waiting at high end restaurants, right? So it's not the degree that makes you successful, right? It's who you become as a person, right? So
and what your sole purpose is. Like,
that being said, there's a lot of people that think that going to college is still the way, but here's the problem with that. By the time you're done in college, when you're getting a 4 year degree, 6 year degree, 8 year degree, 12-year degree, I don't even know how that stuff works, right? However long you're in school, the information that you learn in the beginning when you first started is obsolete by the time you get out.
mm-hmm.
Right? So you start college, and 4 years later, everything that you learned in the beginning is no longer valid, right?
A
Because the
culture.
world, the world, the pace of the world, like we're moving at such a fast pace, right? Every single day, there's new technology being created. There's new systems coming in place. Like the world is changing, right? It's we got school in our pocket, right? You want to learn something, take out your phone. You literally have a computer in your pocket, right? You can learn anything that you want to learn from there. I think that being able to interact with other humans is the best part about school. Being around other people, right? Learning how to not have social anxiety, right? Interacting with other children, other human beings.
Even like you remember like where you had to like get up before the class and give a presentation. Sometimes
Yeah,
it was
like
group,
that's great for
sometimes in
people.
the day. They don't have to do that no
They
more.
don't got to do that no
If
more.
you get a doctor's note or you go to a counselor, your parents write a note and say that, oh, you've been struggling mentally and just socially speaking, you do not have to give like verbal um presentations anymore.
Weak. They're breeding weakness, right?
Like you're feeding into the whole mental health thing. And by I am 100% mental health. Your mental health is very important. Figuring out your triggers, figuring out like the root of like what you've been through. But I feel like now it has like people use it as a crutch. Like it's certain things that like yes people have went through a lot of stuff, but I feel like if you're just a child that is spoiled and ungrateful and don't really want to do anything for real and just want stuff your way because you want to be lazy and you putting it off as, oh, my mom yells at me sometimes, oh, my dad doesn't do this for me sometimes,
right.
whoop-de-doo.
Right.
I mean, honestly, and it's not to like devalue anyone's, trauma or devalue anything that anyone has went through, but it's like boo-hoo because that's life.
Yeah.
In life, you're going to get told no. In life, you're not going to have it your way. In life, you're going to have to do certain things that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go to, and not in a way to where it's like you jeopardizing your morals and what you stand for, but in a way of it's not going to be easy if you're really trying to reach a certain level, or if you're just trying to do stuff that is aligned with your purpose. It comes with the rough and it comes with the good. Like you, in order to have what you're supposed to have in this world, or get out of what you're supposed to have in this world, you have to have both. It's a happy period, and it's a period where you gotta be in the trenches.
Yeah, I think this is why the older generation looks at us and they just shake their head. They're
Yeah.
like, listen, y'all got it made. Y'all don't even understand. It's what it is. Listen, it's the circle of life. Okay.
I think it's a generation that's like that. They see just like,
They
like
see the
they just
weakness. They see the weakness being breeded, right? They see how if somebody has an issue going on, that instead of attacking that issue head on, you put it off on somebody else, or you go and hide somewhere so you don't have to address the issue. All that does is breed weakness, and you take weak habits and you use those weak habits over a long period of time, you become a weak individual, right? And then anybody can say anything to you and break you, right? Back in the day, it was none of that, right? You had to fight, right? You had to fight for what it is that you wanted. You had to go after something, right? You had to be demanding, okay? And it may not have always gotten you what you wanted, but you still had to be demanding. You got to put yourself out there. But the society that we live in now, they want to breed weakness, and they want to prolong. They want to prolong the maturation process of human beings. You see, back in the day, you think about it, man. Like our grandparents, they would be out the house, have their own house, kids raised. I mean, their career at 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Or
they got life
younger.
younger. They got life going on. 21 years old. They got their own home. They got 3 cars, 3 car garage. Like they doing their thing at 21. Why? It's because it was harder for them in the beginning. So it built up this type of person to be resilient, to be persistent, to be strong, to know what it takes to win, right, and to
Mm-hmm.
provide for their family at a much younger age. Now they want to prolong that maturation process, right? We got people that are still 26, 27, 28, 30 years old living at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
30 years old still trying to figure it out. 30 years old still got bad habits,
Mm-hmm.
right? Want to chill all day, want to smoke all day, want to drink all day,
Mm-hmm.
go out with their friends,
Or
party.
even like I would take it as far as like people that are in their 20s. Like people are in their 20s doing the exact same thing. Yeah. And it's just like everyone had this mindset is, oh, don't rush and enjoy your youth. And it's very much so, enjoy your youth, do what you're supposed to do. I'm not saying everyone's supposed to have kids and be settled down in their 20s. However, whenever you're making those choices to drink and like that's solely like all that you do, drink and smoke, it's like that's going to catch up with you because in the time frame that you're supposed to be grinding, you're supposed to be making something for yourself and taking advantage of the opportunity that we have now. Like I really realize it so much more when I interact with a bunch of foreign people. Mm-hmm. Like they're quick to come in the store. I was like, you guys, Americans, like they hate America. Like they love America, but they hate Americans.
Americans got it made, and we don't even realize that.
You so ungrateful.
And that's the truth.
So ungrateful. The biggest thing is like wasteful. Like they waste time. They think they have all this time in the world, and the reality of it is you don't. Like life is short, time is short, and when it's short, like when that window opens for you to go through and really like make an impact and to like have that great opportunity for yourself and for the people that are surrounded by you have to go after it. Like you have to go for it because we live in a world to where everyone has access to anything to be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
Like there's no limitations, especially the fact that you live in America. For of course, minorities, it is a little bit more difficult. Mm-hmm. Like that.
But that don't mean you can't do it.
That don't mean that you can't do it, baby, because now it's laws in place that if you make enough noise, baby, you gonna get through that door.
Yeah, somebody gonna hear you.
You gonna get to that door. They don't want that problem. They don't want that issue because that's gonna, bring down their whole facility, bring down whatever you're trying to do. So it's just the fact that this generation is just ungrateful and entitled, and it's just like I be irritated.
I don't think it's just the generation though, because sometimes I have a problem with
it's the older generation
people.
Too.
No, but I don't think it's just a generational thing. I think it's just like it's a cultural thing. It's like the societal culture. Like what's the culture that's being breeded in society? You gotta think about it now. The music that they play, what they have on TV, like they're feeding us.
That's what's been programmed.
Yeah, they're feeding us this toxicity, this poison. They want us to be dumbed down. They want us to slander each other. They want us to, discriminate against each other. That's what they're feeding us, and the society like feeds into it, right? And they become programmed, right? And they start to think how the media outlets want you to think, right? Instead of thinking for themselves. Listen. Thinking is the hardest work most people never do. People don't want to think. Okay,
that's why it's so convenient to have phones and computers.
It's mindless. You don't got to think, right? When you have to think, it forces you to address problems. It forces you to address concerns and issues, and it forces you to get uncomfortable. Most people don't want to think. They just want things to be done for them. They want things to be handed to them. And the older people think, I don't want to say generation, but the older people think that our generation is like that, but it's not a generational thing. It's a societal cultural thing. Like what's going on in society.
That's what society has shifted to.
Right. It's because listen, we got a lot of people in our generation that's hardworking, that's go getters, that's like they're perseverant. So it's not just a generational thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is. Maybe I just don't know. But it doesn't seem to me as generational.
I would say that I see in everyone's generation, age wise.
Right.
But I would say it's more prevalent in the recent generation.
Yeah.
Because they're actually grown into it. Like us, we still have that structure of go to work, get out, do something with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just lay around.
Right.
Like, life is hard. Like, that was still drilled in us
Right.
because we didn't necessarily grow up with a whole lot of social media.
Right.
It was social media sites coming up as we were coming into our teenage years, but when we were young, that wasn't around. We were still playing with actual toys.
Right.
So,
and we were forced to talk to people.
We were forced to talk to people. We were around like family and all of our cousins. Like, that was our childhood.
Yeah.
And then when we got into high school is really when social media came around. Okay, and that culture began to shift. So in a way, like, our foundation is still those key values of communicate with people. When you're talking to an adult, it's miss and mister, it's yes and thank you, it's please, it's may you. Like, those manners was instilled in us.
Yeah.
Now I feel like more so like with our niece and nephew, like their age, that's not instilled in them. Right. That's not something that's normal. That's not something that's taught. Right. Because one, people in their generation isn't doing that. Two, because they don't have to really interact with people like that. So it's just like, that's what I mean by like the older generation, like from like the root, like they have phones from whenever they came out. Right. Like social media was around from when they like that's their foundation. That's not our foundation. Yeah, so the fact that that's their foundation, they seen that like people not interacting, not having to speak to people, not using manners and stuff like that. That's their generation. Like, that's why I'm like speaking.
That makes sense though.
But not saying that that's just every generation, because it's also society, because it's grown adults 30, 40, 50, 60s that's like that too. Yeah. Like, it's like, I don't want to talk to people because I don't have to talk to people no more, because that's the world that we live in.
Right. There's a pattern in life that I noticed, or I've come to the awareness of, and that's, listen, there's a rise and falling in consciousness, right, throughout all history. Okay, consciousness rises and falls, and what I mean by that is people's awareness, people's moral compass, people's social, what's a good word to use? People's social skills, I guess. There's a rise and fall in consciousness in people's ability to be all that we were called to be. Okay. Mm-hmm. See, I think at one point, and this will be another point again, right? Because it's a circle of life. Mm-hmm. At one point, our people, or people in general, were very courageous. They were very persistent. Like, just everybody. Mm-hmm. It was very few people that weren't like this. They were courageous. They were go getters. They were persistent. They were goal driven. They were aware of the presence of God. Right. They knew who they were. They focused on their spirit as opposed to their flesh. They didn't do things to harm their body. They didn't do things to harm others. At one point, it was like that. But gradually that consciousness starts to shift and it starts to go down. Mm-hmm. Right. And then we come into a new era. And that new era is when these other powers that come into be, right, they want to force this different agenda, and they want to decrease the awareness or the level of consciousness of people, and they want to feed them mass toxicity. Mm-hmm. Right, like music with a bunch of glorifying of guns and drugs and war and mistreating broken of women. Homes, broken homes, imprisonment, right? So they feed that to the society, and then the society consumes it, and that consciousness falls. And that's where we have people that are very barbaric. Mm-hmm. They don't have any manners. They're not kind. They're aggressive, right? But eventually it gets to a point where that consciousness starts to rise again. And there's a new voice that comes in, right? And there's a new level of awareness that comes in. And people start to realize, like, wow, I've been asleep. Right? Now I realize what's really important. It's mm-hmm. my family. It's humans, right? It's my interactions, it's experiences.
But right? When people really realize that it's sad, is when they're old and dying.
Yeah, when it's too late.
That's when people realize that, oh, I should have been nicer to people, or like that's what like older people say too, people that are really, really old, I wish I would have valued time. Like I wish I would have spent more time with family. I wish I would have built more relationships because at the end of the day, you need that interaction. As much as this world wants to try and say that like you don't need human interaction or you don't need to communicate and be social with people, you need that. It feeds your soul.
Yeah.
It feeds your spirit.
I want to say this. This is gonna be great. This may be a three-parter. So I want to say this. My wife and I were just talking about this earlier. Matter of fact, I'll give you some context. So earlier when we were in the car, we were talking about death for some reason or whatever. I told her that if I'm no longer here, God forbid I passed away prematurely, there's three things that I want for my children. Number one is I want them to know who they are. I want them to know that they are a spirit, they live in a body, and they possess a soul. Right? And I don't just want that for my children, specifically for my children, just in the context of what I'm speaking of, but I want that for people in general. If people understand that they exist in three parts, then they will have a much better existence in this life. People, if people understood that they are spirits, they live in a body, and they possess a soul, then they would have a much better awareness of who they are and a much better awareness of who others are
and how they operate in the world
and they'll be able to operate in a world that is cruel, right, to this flesh. The world is cruel to this flesh, right? But in the spiritual realm, right, that's where we're able to interact with God. That's where we're able to become one with self, right? Is when we're operating in the spirit. And then our soul has to do with you know, where we ultimately are judged, right? Where we ultimately end up when we're no longer here, right? That's why the good book talks about the salvation of our soul, right? It's about who you are as a person and who you're going to yield to, right? The scripture says you can't serve two masters, right? You either serve God or you serve mammon, okay? And when
can't be lukewarm.
When you can be lukewarm, right? When you submit to God, when you yield to God and you put God first, then that saves your soul, right? And it gives you an understanding, it gives you humility to know that everything that you have comes from your creator, right? And without him, you can do nothing, but with him, you can do everything, right? And if people understand that, and again, they'll experience their experience in life will be much better because they'll be better prepared for what life is going to throw at them. Okay, so anyway, just going back to what I was saying, the first thing that I wanted for my children was that they know who they are, right? They are a spirit, they live in the body, they possess a soul. Number two is I want them to have a love and appreciation for people, right? And to treat people with respect, be kind, be loving, be caring, right? Because everybody longs for love. It doesn't matter who you are, we all long for love because that's the spirit that we were created from.
Yeah.
Right? It says the Bible says God is love. Right? We were created in the image of God.
Okay, so
what?
We
were created. That's our essence. Our essence is love. Right? That's why Jesus talks about. I'm about to preach. That's why Jesus talks about unless you become like this little child, right? In the book of Matthew, I believe. Unless you become like these little children, right, you cannot enter the kingdom of God. You look at the characteristics of a child. Look at how a child operates. Children are extremely loving, extremely trusting. They dream big. They're very creative, right? They're the close, and the reason they're like that is because they're the closest. They're the closest to source, right? They're fresh. They've been here a year, 2 years, 3 years. They just got here from source. Okay, so they still have that aura of love. It's when you get older, right, and you get beaten up by the world that love gets hindered, right? People start putting blankets over your light, right, and it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, right? I don't want my children's light to dim. Okay, that was number two. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that's why people like look at our kids kind of like shocked because they ooze so much love out.
Yeah.
Because we ooze out love to them. They see us oozing out love all day, so they give love to other people. Like it's not a day that when we're out that our kids don't come home with money or something that they was looking at in the store, because when you give love and you never know what someone is going through. And I will like that core value, like I always want them to know, don't judge, don't laugh at people, like don't make fun of people just because other people are doing that, like that's not funny, that's not cute. You get what I'm saying? Like I feel like a lot of times, especially in our family, like a lot of stuff is like funny because we don't really take nothing serious.
Right.
But I want our kids to know, like, making fun of people and
That's
joking and bullying people, that's not funny.
Yeah.
And if it comes to a point to where they're a target to be bullied by family or whoever it is, it really don't matter. You would get cut off.
You're not going.
And that's strong on, I'm protecting my kids. Like, they will not be bullies. They will not operate out of love. They will understand just because someone does you wrong don't mean that you do them wrong. Because at the end of the day, God is going to have the final say. And at the end of the day, you don't know what that person was going through.
Right.
Like, them lashing out on you, it wasn't personal problem. Not saying that that's right. Not saying that every time, excuse me, that happens, you accept that. But they're going to have, I want them to have enough discernment to see the spirit and see that person. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes life is hard, and sometimes people just lash out because that's the only person that they can lash out on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that person that did that to you and you were just calm and just cool and collective because you saw his spirit. You saw that spirit in him. I want them to be able to see that, and I want them to be able to give love unconditionally, because right now they're in that phase where they give love unconditionally. Like, we know that one of Noel's, just her personality trait is just talking to people.
Yeah.
She can talk to any people, and to some people that are insecure, or some people that just, just on edge, or just don't understand that is a love language for her. Oh, you talk too much. You do too much. It's not too many people that's going to be able to say that before I say something. Like, yes, you do talk a lot because that's her gift. Because God gave her the gift of gab.
Right.
Like, talking to people, like, loving on people, that is her gift. The same with Naomi, that we don't 100% know, but she be right there on the side trying to shake people.
Growing. She only won, so we still trying to figure
but you
out.
Still see, she sees Noel talking and loving. Yeah. She tries to shake people's hands. She says hi, like she's smiling. She wants to give people, you ooze in love, like that childlike spirit. Like, I be saying, she know every time, I want to be like you, mama. I want to be like you.
Facts.
Because despite how much she get in trouble, no matter how many times we may raise our voice at her to say I love you,
she's coming right back.
She's coming right back. And I know that she's gonna reach an age to where it's not always gonna be that quick,
right,
or that it's not gonna be love in that form. So it's just like learn and embrace it now. And me, I'm just to that point to where I'm protective over that, because I understand if you crush that spirit now, I see seeds like that.
Absolutely.
Like, I see kids that are like that don't know how to interact, that don't love, that it's hard for them to say thank you, you're welcome. It's hard for them to say I love you. Like, it's hard. You get what I'm saying?
Because,
so
like you said, it got broken at an early age.
At an early age, and it's just like, I refuse that. But that's the reason I wanted to chime in on, the second one that you said, just like loving everybody, because that is important. There's plenty of people that I've, just been nice to, and they done broke down crying.
Yeah.
Because you never know what somebody's going through.
That's what everybody's looking for. That's why at the end of the day, there's not a single subscriber that we have, not a single person that clicks on this podcast that can't tell me they're not longing for love, right? And maybe you got it in your life. Maybe you getting love from your family, you getting love from your spouse, right? But the love that I'm talking about is the love that comes from God, right? And the love that comes from God can only come from the Spirit, right? So when somebody's operating in the Spirit and they're giving you love that seems unconditional, right? And the reason I say seems unconditional is because we're still human, right? So we still got flaws. Some of us still have motives, right? But you can still love in a way to where people understand that there's not necessarily any strings attached, right? You're just loving them because you actually love them. Okay, when people want that, everybody wants that. That's why it doesn't matter, what happens in your life, right? You still got to operate in a place to where you're giving love and appreciation, and you're being kind to other people, right? Because again, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what their situation is. Like, you just never know, and you could be that individual that either makes them or breaks them. All right, and I don't ever want to be on the side where somebody said, listen, I ran into this gentleman one day, and then he treated me like crap, and I went home, and I wanted to take my life, right? Or I fell down, right? I broke down crying. Like I don't ever want to be the reason for somebody's downfall.
Yeah.
In no way, shape, or form. Okay. So anyway, number three was whatever dreams that my children have, I want them to pursue it as if they could not fail, as if it's impossible for them to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Because in reality, it is, right? And when I say failure, when I'm talking about failure, I'm talking about it being final, right? Because failure, right, or temporary failure is a part of success.
Mm-hmm.
But making failure final is the type of failure that I'm talking about. So I want them to go after their dreams as if they cannot fail, meaning as if they cannot bring themselves to a place to where they cannot
Accept failure.
succeed. Yeah, don't accept failure, right? Don't accept temporary failure as permanent,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's steps to success, right? And I want you to go after whatever it is that you want to go after with vigor, with excitement, with joy, and know that it's going to turn out the way you seen it to turn out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, having a vision for your life is the best thing you can do, right? And once you have that vision, you just pursue it, and it'll turn out the way you want it to turn out. So, um, did you have anything else you wanted to say, sweetheart?
Um, it was, but honestly, I forgot.
You ever got it? We
I
gave we
forgot.
gave a lot of gems. We a little fired up. Okay, it's
It's
been
a
a day.
lot.
Yeah,
just a lot going on,
it's
and
a
just
lot going on. We got a lot on our hearts. I could go another 2 hours, but we not.
yeah.
Um, Listen,
I
we
think
love y'all. Oh,
yeah. Let me say something.
my bride thinks. Yeah.
I just think that as a just a human race in general, if you do suffer from social anxiety, I feel like a lot of it is your words. I feel like a lot of seeds have been sown in our generation to where it's very easy to be influenced by someone else's circumstances. So someone saying that, oh, suffer from social anxiety because as a child I was always told to shut up. As a child I was always told to be quiet. It's different from you saying, oh, I think I suffer from social anxiety because I just don't like talking to people. Dig deeper. That no, you're making excuses and you're trying to make a situation out of somebody else's circumstances just fit you so you can be comfortable. And being comfortable, you will never grow, you will never learn, you will never reach the potential that you're supposed to because you're comfortable and you're okay with accepting other people's circumstances. Like even us talking to y'all, telling y'all our experiences and stuff like that, your experience, your situation, your growth, your process is going to be completely different from ours. It may be similar, it will not be the exact same as ours because everyone's testimony, everyone's story is different. So pride yourself in just working harder and being the best version of you and just oozing out love to people. Because, like you said, like it was, I'm pretty sure everyone is watching. At some point, it was somebody that said something to you that set a fire in you. They're like, okay, I really can do that. It gave you that extra push. It gave you that extra motivation. Or somebody said something to you and it cheered you up or just made you feel great. Like whatever it is, we are people and we need people. Regardless of what social
That
media
part.
says, I feel like the biggest point for you to take from our conversation today, just from me, my perspective, is we need each other. Push yourself to just communicate and love people. Just love people. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. Like, even if it's uncomfortable to you, like, I feel like me too was talking about that. Like, that social media after a time just runs out because
Mm-hmm.
when you are like in interaction with people, it pulls on your spirit, and sometimes people pull on your spirit that's not necessarily in a good way. So it's just like you're drained after having a conversation with them, or you're drained after like certain interactions with people. When I say ooze love, simply just like somebody look good, you see somebody looking down, hey, you're doing a great job, hey, whatever it is, just ooze love. And that's pretty much all I had to say. Ooze love, be genuine and be humble.
Yeah, so that's a great point, sweetheart. And I wanted to wrap up with a verse of scripture. And I'll get in two verses this pod. So my wife talked about us all needing each other, right? And and that being the main point to take from this podcast, right? We're humans, we're people, we all need people. Okay, so we all play a part in this world. So I want to read you guys a scripture. I ain't gonna read the whole book, but it's gonna seem like it. Okay, so it's First Corinthians chapter 12, verse 12. All right, and the title reads Unity and Diversity in the Body. All right, so it says, just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body. So it is with Christ. For we were all baptized by one Spirit, so as to form one body, whether Jews or Gentiles, slave or free, we were all given the one Spirit to drink. Even so, the body is not made up of one part, but of many. Now, if the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it will not for that reason stop being part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has placed the parts in the body, every one of them, just as he wanted them to be. If they were all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you, and the hand cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable, and the parts that we think are less honorable, we treat with special honor, and the parts that are unpresentable, we treat it with special modesty, while our presentable parts need no special treatment. But God has put the body together, giving great honor to the parts that lacked it, so that there should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffer, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of it. And God has placed in the church first of all apostles, second prophets, third teachers, then miracles, then gifts of healing. It says then gifts of healing, of helping, of guidance, and of different kinds of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Do all work miracles? Do all have gifts of healing? Do all speak in tongues? Do all interpret? Now eagerly desire the greater gifts. Amen.
Amen.
We're gonna wrap up with that, y'all. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And like, comment, subscribe, share.
Turn on your post notifications.
All that.
He said all that to say is that we are all a part of the body. One body is not more special than another part of the body. We all flow together. We all work better if we understand our parts in the body. Mm-hmm. So
Everybody do their part, right? We love each other. Don't treat nobody else like they're less than. Everybody's role is significant, right? Mm-hmm. From the janitor to the construction worker to the garbage person to the CEO to the entrepreneur.
We're all bodies.
Listen, we're all part of the body. All right. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Love for your hearts, family.
Peace and blessings. Peace. Bye, y'all.